Welcome, everyone. Woo! Global Oneness Day is just around the corner. I'm here with our special guest, Barbara Marx Hubbard, and we have got just some exciting things to share here as we come up on Global Oneness Day, our big day. Just in a minute, it's going to be an amazing day. 12 plus hours of programming. It's all in video this year, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that and talk to some exciting themes that that are a key part of Global Oneness Day this year. So, of course, Global Oneness Day it's on Tuesday, October 24th. Hope you've got it in ink on your calendar. It's over 12 hours. It's free. If you miss some of the live program, we will send out links. But we encourage you to have friends, coworkers, family members come in, sit with you, watch the whole day in programming, order some food in, just make it fun. It's going to be a huge, huge day. And you can register for Global Oneness Day at globalonenesssummit.org, or just Google Global Oneness Day. You'll see the site and the free registration. So invite you to go ahead and do that. I am here with our special guest, Barbara Marx Hubbard. We're going to share exciting details about Barbara's work and Global Oneness Day. Let me go ahead and formally introduce her so we can get started. Barbara Marx Hubbard has been called the voice for conscious evolution by Deepak Chopra. She is the subject of Neil Donald Walsh's book, The Mother of Invention, and many would agree she is the global ambassador for conscious change. At her heart, Barbara Marx Hubbard is a visionary, a social innovator. She is an evolutionary thinker who believes that global change happens when we work collectively and selflessly for the greater good. She realizes that the lessons of evolution teach us that problems are evolutionary drivers and crisis precedes transformation, giving a new way of seeing and responding to our global situation. As a prolific author and educator, Barbara has written 7 books on social and planetary evolution. She has produced, hosted, and contributed to countless documentaries seen by millions of people around the world. In conjunction with the Shift Network, Barbara co-produced the worldwide Birth 2012 multimedia event that was seen as a historic turning point in exposing the social, spiritual, scientific, and technological potential in humanity. And welcome to this program, Barbara. Great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. This is a fabulous thing you're doing.
All right. Well, very exciting with Global Oneness Day just around the corner. It's like we got a big fire here in front of us, and our hands are just kind of rubbed together here at the fire. Barbara, I'm going to jump in with some questions here. As you know, Global Oneness Day this year is a huge, huge call to action. One way of describing it is it's an evolution of society and of the person. Arising right now is a passionate awareness of possibilities inherent in a grand co-creative process where each of us has a part in solving global problems and calling forth a magnificent future for humanity. Barbara, that description comes from material that you've written. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, I was realizing humanity has a new holiday, which is a holy day, which is Global Oneness Day. And right there, as I was thinking about it, it's a holiday that has never been had before, and everybody's part of it. And everybody who's alive on this planet, whatever culture or background, we're all living through a planetary shift. We can see we could either go toward devolution and destruction by misuse of our power, or we could go toward evolution and a new world by love and creativity and joining together. So let's say Global Oneness Day is that call, right at the shift point of humanity to join together in love by giving our unique gifts to the world. So it's a call to action, it's a call to joining, it's a call to a vision of what this world could be if we actually do join together. Most of us can see what would happen if we don't join together. But through Global Oneness Day, with all these great speakers, every one of them has a code of the emerging future. So I think it's really important that we all see it together.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. Thank you for you've tirelessly coming into programming for Global Oneness Day and spreading the word. One of the panels, which we'll talk about, Awaken New Species, is is a key theme during Global Oneness Day. But let me also take this opportunity to thank all of the speakers and co-creators and referral partners, sponsors that are involved with Global Oneness Day, because, and all of you, the viewers, because it's you that together with your collective energy that have caused humanity's team to ramp up into what Barbara describes as a holiday or holy day. It is that. It is the Earth Day for an awakened humanity. Ancient truth, this timeless truth that we are all one with the divine, each other, and all of life comes out of the closet, and we start living this way, and we start educating our kids this way, and then creating the world that works for us and our kids and future generations. So let me just say a word about Global Oneness Day, a little bit about the speakers, and then Barbara and I are going to go deeper into some really important topics. On the Global Oneness Day site, so it's globalonenesssummit.org, you'll see the panels on the right side, and then in the speaker gallery, you'll see the amazing speakers, again, that are all coming in, freely giving of their time to be part of this day and to help spread the word. So Michael Beckwith and Panache Desai are part of the welcoming ceremony, and then they're joined by Matthew Fox and Gary Zukoff. In the first panel, it's called One with the Divine. Barbara has a panel with Barnett Bain and Joan Borisenko and Barbara Fields called Human Consciousness Shift. She has a panel with Neil Donald Walsh called Awaken New Species. There's a Science of Oneness panel with Greg Braden, Nassim Harriman, Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, a Spirituality Embodying Your True Nature panel that with Patricia Coda Robles and other key people. And for the first time, there's a Women in Oneness panel. We've never done that before, with Jean Houston, Claire Zammit, Deborah Rosman, Marcy Shima, Christy Whitman, and Deborah Ponyman. A Sacred Action panel with Marianne Williamson, Neil Donald Walsh, Andrew Harvey, and Rabbi Michael Lerner. And believe it or not, there are other amazing speakers I'm not going to share because I don't want to just go on and take too much of our time. But check out the Global Oneness Day site. You'll see the entire program is free. And if you missed part of the program, we're going to send you links right after the program. It is a call to action this year, more than ever. Why? Why is it a call to action more than ever? Because as we can see, here in the United States and other parts of the world, there are these nationalist populist movements that are in political parties and political movements that have taken our progress and just U-turned it, and we're actually heading back the other way in many regards, certainly as we look at the environment and climate change. I think maybe we could all agree that there's not going to be tops-down change here that's going to walk in the kind of world that Global Oneness Day talks about, that Barbara and I are talking about, and that we're all living for as conscious beings. We're going to walk that in. It's going to be a grassroots initiative where we all come down on the field and we all participate. And that's what Global Oneness Day is about. That's what Barbara and I are going to talk more about here. Barbara, let's go deeper into what we were just sharing. Memes are really important here, right? You talk about memes. Can you share why are memes important when we talk about becoming conscious?
Well, you know, genes create physical bodies. Memes create cultures. And according to the memes or ideas, particularly if they're held by a large collective number of people, they actually create the culture. And most people don't know we have memes. They take them for granted. So my book, Evolutionary Synthesis, I decided to, first of all, notice the terrible memes we've had in the 20th century. Fascism, communism, mutually assured destruction, type of memes. We do what the memes say. So I started to identify what are the positive memes for our understanding of universe, understanding of person, understanding of reality. And I would say that the memes that are coming forth out of the speakers on Global Oneness Day, our new holy day or holiday, are the means to build the new culture. And I would look at the panels almost like codes for a culture that is emerging among us. But Steve, we haven't seen ourselves as a new culture yet. We've seen ourselves in the breakdown mode. So I would like people, when they see all of these panels, to weave them together into a new mimetic code of ideas, of insights, of genius that will lead and is leading already to a new culture.
Absolutely. You say it actually reprograms our DNA, these codes, right?
It does. And then we activate different parts of our own being when we're turned on. And it's really interesting, according to what meme you hold personally. I'd like to mention not only in the cultural meme, like socialism or capitalism or fascism, that actually has not fulfilled itself, but every one of us holds a meme of our own self-identity. And an awful lot of people don't have a high self-identity. And I want to quote a phrase that I got from actually Dwayne Elgin on my interview with him a few days ago. Every one of us has an impulse to create, to be more, love more, do more, participate more. And Dwayne calls it a generative, erotic impulse. So I'm making a bold statement, Steve. It might be shocking to some of our members, but I think Global Oneness Day is going to generate erotic impulses all over the place. And so what is a generative erotic impulse? It's your unique desire to create. And if everybody has a passion within them, I think it's that. It's to express the uniqueness of who they are passionately for where they're going. And I think we will generate that through Global Oneness Day and through all the different courses that are being offered.
Yes, let's talk about this, because it is a powerful concept here. And of course, we talked about this in an interesting context. We can kind of walk some of this in, that as there's in the stepping stones, we kind of can come into mindfulness with reflection and so on. And then we go out one step further into unity consciousness, which is what Global Oneness Day is, where we understand, feel, and step into and express our oneness with the divine. We becoming an expression of the divine. Now, as part of this, then we step out into this generative erotic impulse, which is really something very cool, because there's a lot to this, right? In creative process, in genius, in impulse, things that we're drawn to. Let's talk about this a little more. How so for viewers that would be sitting here, that are sitting here listening in, Barbara, how can they get in touch with their generative erotic impulse?
It's a simple question to ask yourself. What attracts you most to express and be and do? Number one, what attracts you? That's what Abraham Maslow said. You have to do that which attracts you, and then it becomes your chosen work. So what attracts you? How can you do more to realize what attracts you? And what do you need that you don't yet have to reach out for? In other words, we have to be pioneers. We have to be proactive. We don't sit at home and it just falls on our lap. People have said to me, well, how do you expect me to do this? I'm a housewife. I said, I was a housewife. Housewives are a great launching pad, actually. But what you do, if you're feeling at all depressed or uncertain about your next step, go within, ask what attracts me, and reach out to at least one other person to share what attracts you, and turn yourself on to your own generative erotic impulse. And I'll just end that thought by saying that's the God within you. That's the source of creation awakening in everyone. So for the unity consciousness, I'd like to add the collective unity of all the separate parts coming together as a whole, far greater than the sum of our parts. That's where the amazing grace comes in. Yes, we're all one, but when we join together as one, each of us joining our genius with one another, this world is going to blossom into something greater than we've ever seen before.
Yes, and that's when you move from holiday into holy day, that's the holy day, isn't it? That's sacred, where we're looking out at that diversity of the one, of divinity or the divine itself that's expressing.
Yeah, yes. And here's another really fascinating thought from evolutionary theory is how did nature get from disorder to higher order for billions of years? I mean, you can say God did it, but how? It's very, very uncertain how it was done. But here's what Ilya Prigogine, the Nobel Prize winner, said, which I think we're doing on Global Oneness Day. He said, when a system is dysfunctional, it uses more of its energy to handle dysfunctionalities. Meanwhile, innovations crop up, new ideas, new things that people are doing. And there's a tendency at some point for there to be a nonlinear, exponential interaction of what's working. Nonlinear, exponential, very rapidly speeded up, connectivity of innovations. So let's say every panel on Global Oneness Day is a contribution to a joining together at a higher level of synergy to create before our very eyes on Global Oneness Day a vision. And where there is vision, people don't perish. People evolve. And we've been lacking a vision of our culture. So the memes create that, the wonderful people who are on this, that you've joined together, and the fact that we're coming together at a time of crisis on Earth, which is preceding what I think of as the birth of a new culture.
Yes, beautiful. I'm gonna ask you to do something, Barbara, that I didn't ask you about before the program. So hopefully it's going to be okay. It's experiential, something experiential, because this whole this focus on becoming the universal human, of crossing over into Homo Universalis, really embodying that, expressing that. You've done that. Barbara talks about this during her Awaken New Species program with Neil Donald Walsh on Global Oneness Day. It's one of the really stellar programs. You'll want to be sure to listen into that. But Barbara, and hopefully this isn't getting too personal, but you have crossed over. Can we do something experiential where people just can, where you're feeling into all of the presence and power of that? Because I'm going to guess that if where you just do something experiential,
yeah,
people will be able to feel into that with you and feel into the truth of what's emerging in them.
Yes, I just like the book we're using in Awaken the Species is called 52 Codes for Conscious Self-Evolution. I just want to tell you this very brief incident. I was talking with Nassim Haramein, who's one of your speakers, and he was telling me about extraterrestrial contact. So one day I said, oh, how come Nassim has that? I haven't met any extraterrestrials. And I said in my meditation, give me contact. Here's what I got. It's in my journal. You must stop and let us lift your vibrations. Number one, we're going to stop here and lift the vibrations in every one of us. Prepare for your rendezvous with destiny. Everybody listening, prepare. Let your vibrations lift. Refocus your integrated essence, which would be your normal ego self, upward toward your universal self on the other side of the transition, post-birth. Like a baby newborn doesn't know about post-birth. We're a planet undergoing a birth process. For a new culture, every one of us has a universal self that somehow inside us knows who we are becoming. And so keep your attention on me. So I'm suggesting right now, people turn within, experience in themselves some sense of anticipation of what they could become personally and socially. And put your attention on the frequency and vibration of your own potential self. Keep your attraction there. The script of your conscious evolution is coded within that vibration of your own potential self. To read it, simply place your attention upon it. So let's, every one of us now, take a deep breath. Place our attention on that inside us that feels like it's emerging, creative, new, exciting to become inside you. Your greatest attraction to become who you truly are. Now imagine you becoming it. How it feels when you are your full potential self, awakening to that in you and others simultaneously. On Global Oneness Day, as a new holiday for humanity, awaken the species inside of you. Now. Wow, thank you.
Oh, well, that was, I hadn't asked Barbara to do this. This was completely unscripted. Barbara, thank you. That was a beautiful, I'm going to call it appetizer, for where we're going to serve up the entree, which is the amazing discussion. And there are experiential things just like this that are part of Global Oneness Day. That was so beautiful, Barbara. And again, I encourage you to be sure to listen to her Awaken New Species and Human Consciousness Shift panels, where there's a deeper, a broader discussion about these things. Barbara, one of the things you walked in here in your example was your friendship with Nassim Harriman. Reached out to him, and of course, as you mentioned, he's part of Global Oneness Day, and he came out with a Connected Universe, this amazing documentary, right? That in physics and in math, it explains this unified field theory that really gets into the math and the science of unity consciousness. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, I know Nassim very well. In fact, when I was recently met with him at a conference, was telling him about this awakening inside myself, and that it had been triggered by him, by his saying that he had met extraterrestrials. He said to me, Barbara, you're one of them. I don't think he meant I'm an extraterrestrial, but he meant that I was that universal self that I was saying I could become. And when Nassim, he actually glared at me. We were having breakfast together. He said, you're one of them. So I'd just like to say, Steve, so are you. And so are many of us. And there's something about recognizing our potential self as present now. So much of us have projected ourselves into the future. One day I will become. But because of the shift on Earth and the fact of so many of us existing, and probably the way evolution works during crises, is that, let's say, millions of us are becoming our potential self now, and that we're going to celebrate that unity on Global Oneness Day, as well as our uniqueness coming together as one.
Yes, we are. That's exactly what we're doing on Global Oneness Day. And it is a holiday and a holy day, as you share, Barbara. And let me also share, I'm going to just go further and tell people about your conversation. It was private with Neil Donald Walsh, and who, of course, is the founder of Humanity's Team. And he came out this year very unexpectedly with this 10th Conversations with God book called Awaken the Species. And this was the part of the inspiration. There were many others for this call to action that Humanity's Team and Barbara Marx Hubbard have created. That's a year-round sort of extension of Global Oneness Day. We'll be talking about that during Global Oneness Day. We might even say a word about it during this program. But when Neil was talking privately with Barbara, he said the same thing to you, didn't he, Barbara? He said, because a key theme in Awaken the Species, Neil's new Conversations with God book, is that there are many highly evolved beings or heads among us that are here to support this birth, this evolution of Homo sapien to Homo universalis. And he said, Barbara, you're one of them, aren't you? So
I said, no. But now, Neil, I would not call myself a highly evolved human, because those were really sort of transcendent, but I would call myself a new norm. And I would that something new is awakening in me, but it's a new norm rather than an extra norm. And I think this is very important, that this new human that's awakening in so many of us is the new normalcy of our species. And the reason I'm using the phrase a homo universalis is that from Homo sapiens sapiens, the creature that knows it knows, there has been in all the great avatars of our species, Jesus, Buddha, and so forth, has been arising something new, but most people couldn't do it. Most people couldn't be a Buddha or a Jesus or a Muhammad. What I see happening now is if you look at our spiritual evolution, our social vocational desire to create combined with high tech, nanotech, biotech, artificial intelligence, genetics, space travel, those are powers of mythological gods have been given to us in this generation. So I'm saying to everybody, spiritually and vocationally, as well as high-tech genius, let's turn on the love to heal the earth, free the people, and explore the vast regions in front of us. Because, folks, we've got the power.
Yes, we do. One of the key themes in Neil's book, Awaken the Species, and in this call to action, this 52-week intensive, is that we're already awake.
Yeah.
And I think viewers, I think we can all feel into that. We are already awake. We certainly weren't born with all of the awakeness, but through the things that we've done, many of us for decades, we're already awake, and we know that. But we've got to just step out of the safe container of programs like this out into everyday life and live it fully, not partition it, live it fully. And that's what Global Oneness Day is about this year, because again, if we look at out in the world media accounts of what's going on, clearly we're not pointed in the direction that we want to be in. So the grassroots does need to emerge. We're one decision away from each really stepping fully into it, from self-selecting, from living intentionally this next evolution of humanity. And that's what we're inviting people to during Global Oneness Day. You're going to see a 12-hour account of unity consciousness, of what it is and all of the things that we can do in it and are doing in it. It's extraordinary. Invite you to go to globalonenesssummit.org and register. It's going to be amazing. Barbara, we've got just a couple more 3 minutes or so here. As you look at our call to action, here we are a couple of days from Global Oneness Day, this being one decision away. What are invitations you'd like to extend to our viewers?
Well, first of all, I just want to say we are the news. A lot of people say, oh, there's so much bad news. How can you be talking about something good? That's because we are the news, and we're good. We're kind. We're loving. We have to take ourselves into account. That's number one. Number two, instead of saying we're living in the worst of times, I'd like to say we're living in the best of times, because never before have humanity been called forward to give their best. At this level, no, it never happened before. And number three, many of us are giving our best. So I'm just going to celebrate. It seems odd with all the bad news around us and with all the suffering. In order to heal the suffering, we have to bring together what's loving, creative, and good directly for the suffering and then for the emerging species that we are becoming. So I'm proud, glad, and just really grateful to be part of Global Oneness Day. It is a real privilege, Steve.
All right. Well, Barbara, thank you so much. Everybody, you wouldn't know it by how humble Barbara is here, but people are tugging on her arm all day. And also the other speakers that come into Global Oneness Day, and it's just they're being extraordinarily helpful in coming in, at no charge, because these speakers do often there's a substantial income that goes with their speaking engagements. They're all coming in free to support and spread the word around Global Oneness Day. So Barbara, you had the last word there. I want to just invite you all, go to globalonenesssummit.org, globalonenesssummit.org to register. Join us on Tuesday for the full day. I hope you'll be there for the full day. Also, just this Awaken New Species there on Thursday, the 26th of October, and also then a week later on Thursday, November 2nd. Barbara and I are going to be doing some free webinars on this Awaken New Species theme, because it's so crucial, this call to action. These are free webinars. If you go to awakennewspecies.com, you can read about these free webinars. I invite you to go there and register for that as well, because we're going to take Global Oneness Day year round with this program. Very exciting. So thank you all again for joining us here. Really looking forward to Tuesday, October 24th, Global Oneness Day. Barbara, thanks again for being here with us, and thank you, viewers.
I'm delighted to be here, as you know.
Okay, see you all on Tuesday the 24th. Got a big, huge, fabulous day in store. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.